All right, so people are rolling in. Looks like it might be a sparse class tonight. No, here's another one. Okay, everybody. So, thank you for coming. And let's just start by landing where we are. Just let your eyes take in the entire room. Let your heart take in the entire room. Let your gut sink into this moment right here, right now. And let's just breathe from this space for a few moments. Meditation is a chance to take your life off of autopilot. Most people don't realize they're on autopilot. They think that they're doing everything they're doing because they're choosing it. But the truth is, they're just living out programs in their head. Likes and dislikes, attitudes and opinions that they've taken on over the years that have created just this congealed matrix of a person. And through the power of their attention, hang on, I'm just going to make sure we're all muted. Through the power of their attention, they've held their life in place. Because your likes and your dislikes usually don't change very much, or at least they don't change quickly. So you've got this attention that is constantly being directed by these programs that you have had running in some form or another since your very early childhood. You mostly took them on randomly. You didn't take them on because they were particularly true. You took them on because they were confirmed in your parents and in your teachers and in your friends. Life made little changes to them here and there as influential people stepped into your life. But for the most part, it stays pretty stable. You look at the same few things, the same few issues. You hope for the same few things, you resist the same few things. And your life just gives you all of it. It gives you what you're hoping for, it gives you what you're resisting. It gives you all of it, because whatever you place your attention on expands. A lot of times, we're hoping for one thing, but resisting it at the same time. In fact, that's most of the time. And so life gives you a weird mix of those two things. But all of that is automatic pilot. None of that is what you actually are. That's just this little rinky-dink personality you've created for yourself. Who were you before that? there was a you before that. Even in this body, there was a you before that. And there's a you after you lose this body too, with its memory. Meditation is the opportunity to shift out of that programming and be with what's left, which is you, your real self. The you that you were before you took on a bunch of attitudes, opinions, likes, and dislikes. The you that is consistent underneath these filtered layers of storyline. Most people, they'll never see who they are. But you have an opportunity to, because you can shift your attention. Meditation is a shift in the attention. It's a conscious, sustained shift in the attention. First, with concentration, because, you've got a current to what you have been doing your entire life. And to pull out of that current requires a little bit of strength, just for the first few parts of the meditative experience. But as we saw, I think last week, when you shift with concentration on anything that isn't your personal story, the story starts to quiet down because you're not feeding it with your attention. And as that happens, you can actually start to let go of the concentration and instead just step into a place of abiding. You can just abide with your chosen point of focus. And that's an important step, because when you abide with that chosen point of focus, rather than concentrate on that chosen point of focus, you have a practice that is now sustainable. You can only concentrate for so long. Then you use up your energy. When you're concentrating, you're kind of using willpower, right? You're pushing against yourself to do something while a part of you is pulling back at the same time. But as that part of you that's pulling back at the same time starts to quiet down, you want to just let yourself arrive at a new position of attention. And that's the whole trick to meditation. And if you can do that and just rest there, what happens is everything becomes very quiet. Everything becomes very still. And then at one point, everything stops. And if you can just abide through that whole phase and be with that stopping, and just find your comfort there, a whole new world opens up to you. And that world is actually reality. That world is a sea of exploration that is not subject to the whims of your mind. And there's no point in even talking about it. You just have to get there and see it for yourself. At first you won't know what you're looking at, but the longer you spend there, the more your ability to perceive will develop, the more flexible your perception will become, and you'll come to know that you're actually sitting at the heart of what you are, the intelligent, resonant, silent light of what you are, what we all are. And that's nothing to take my word for, nothing to believe in here. Just abide, and in time, you'll see for yourself. Are there any questions about that before we begin? You can either unmute yourself or you can put something in the chat. Can't hear anybody if someone is talking. Let's see, maybe I've got I feel like John's trying to talk. Select a speaker. Let's do that. Oh no, John is muted, that's why. John, if you want to unmute yourself if you're trying to talk. Otherwise, put it in the chat. Okay, so we're asking, is it okay to meditate with your eyes open? Yes, actually, and that's what we do in this class. The truth is, you live with your eyes open, and meditation is not meant to be something that is escapist, least of all in a shamanic sense. So when we meditate, what we do is we place our attention right up here at the forehead and crown, and this just heightens our energy and stimulates glands that kind of relax the body and relax the mind. But then the eyes, what we do is we place the eyes on the floor in front of us or on the desk in front of us. You just kind of anchor them somewhere so that they're out of the way. But I don't recommend closing the eyes. I mean, there are forms of meditation, valid forms that do that. But the meditation I teach, we do it with eyes open. And that makes it much easier for you to then slowly learn to integrate that meditative state into your daily activities, into speaking with another person. People who learn to meditate with their eyes closed have a very hard time finding that state then when their eyes are open. I'm not saying people can't do it that way. They can. But we don't do it that way here. So what we're going to do is forehead and crown, eyes just anchored on something in front of you, and you're just going to begin to breathe, okay? Our chosen point of focus for this class is the breath. And we choose that because you got to breathe anyways. You're breathing all day long. And so it's a really, again, an easy thing to extend beyond your meditation cushion into your day. So you watch the breath as you're breathing in. You are right there with that inhale. And as you're breathing out, you are riding that exhale all the way down. And you're trying to just give every cell of your being to that breath. Okay? This is a wholehearted focus. At first, you're going to use a little concentration to make that happen, because your mind's going to be trying to pull you away. But after a period of time, you're going to notice that it becomes a little easier. And when that happens, just make the breath your home. Just abide in the breath. Now there's a little trick to getting into the meditative state faster. And that is that in between the breaths, there is a gap of absolute nothingness. It's at the top of the inhale, right before the exhale. You just fall off this cliff into this absolute vast empty space. And it's just like a little window you can peer through into the meditative state. Another one happens at the bottom of the breath, right before it shifts to the inhale. I think the best way to describe it is it's that feeling that you get right after an orchestra has stopped playing, but right before the audience starts applauding. Just this pah of silence. You want to make sure while you're watching your breath that you're aware of those spaces too, because that is the doorway into the meditative state. So just play with that a little bit, and then we'll talk again a little later on, and you can ask questions and things like that. So let's get started. Your goal is to watch the breath, to breathe in, breathe out, and nothing else. I'm sorry, there was another question. With lights on or off? It doesn't really matter. I would say ideal would be that the lights would be dim, but I never even think about it. I sit wherever I am and I meditate, and you should be able to do that too. If it's going to help you to have the lights off initially, go ahead and do that, but I would say just dim them a little bit if you can. But it doesn't matter. There's nothing in your environment that is a problem. Okay? So if you catch yourself, and this is a totally normal thing. When I taught this class live, you'd always get people that had an issue with the lights or the clock ticking on the wall or the sounds of people outside. And there's this sense that everything needs to be exactly perfect and still, or you can't meditate. And that is the opposite of what we're trying to do. Just let everything be exactly what it is. Let the light be the light. Let the clock be the clock. Let the dog barking be the dog barking. Let the discomfort in your spine be the discomfort in your spine. Let it all be exactly what it is. Nothing to manipulate. Nothing to hold in place. You be the watcher of your breath. The world will continue turning. Don't spend a minute resenting the world for turning. Just watch the breath and let it all be exactly what it is. Nothing to manipulate or conjure into existence. Okay, so let's go there. Attention at the forehead and crown. And if you're having trouble with that, you can just scratch your forehead, scratch your crown, and just be aware of the feeling that remains there. That's all we're talking about. Nothing more esoteric than that. Then let your eyes fall to a spot in front of you or on the floor and begin to breathe. And as you're breathing, you are the watcher of your breath. First, you are the guardian of your breath, holding closely to the breath, defending your attention on the breath from the mind. Let it all slow down. Let your mind slow down to the speed of the moment you're living. Wholeheartedly given to the breath. Nothing to understand. Nothing to achieve. Just the simplicity of breathing. It's okay if the mind makes some noise. Let the mind be the mind. You be the watcher of your breath. With your attention, feed only your breath. As you start to feel that peace hovering around and inside your body, then you can start to shift from concentrating on the breath to abiding in the breath. It's like imagining that you have always been watching only the breath and will always be watching only the breath. Make it your home. Make it eternal in this moment. A place of expansive patience, unconditional patience. As you breathe in, breathe out, and nothing else. Let the boredom be the boredom. You be the watcher of your breath. Find that fine distinction. Identify only with watching the breath. Good. What more can you give yourself to this process? Can you let your body open up so that every cell in your body is attending to the breath? How much of yourself can you yield to your chosen point of focus as you breathe in, breathe out, and nothing else? Some of you are starting to wane. Restore your focus. What if it were just this? What if it was this and nothing else for eternity? Yield to your practice. Enter it with abandon. As if you'll never be doing anything else. Anything less than that is a split in your attention. And it will hold you back. To experience your eternal self, you have to let go of time. You have to let go of beginnings and endings. Just your conception of them. That part of you that tracks how long you've been sitting here and how tired you should be, and projects as to when this will be over. You have to let go of that to experience eternity, to experience the eternal now that is the meditative state. It is ever new, ever fresh. It's wide open, self-balancing, living peace. When you let go of everything else, what's left is an eternity that is comfortable and flowing and energized. An eternity you wouldn't want to leave. And if nothing else, in the beginning, it is a major vacation from everything that's difficult about your life, because it's a vacation from you. And you're the most difficult thing in your life. Because you assign meaning to everything. And in meditation, you get a vacation from all of your meanings. All of your knowledge. That heavy, weighty knowledge that holds everything down. You get to step above all of that and be what you actually are. As you breathe in, breathe out, and nothing else. Stay in the meditative state. It feels like forever because you've stopped time. It's moving very slowly. Go ahead and give yourself to forever. No conditions. Just give yourself. Let's come out. You did great. Are there any questions or comments about that experience or anything that you'd like to talk about? You can unmute yourself and start talking, or you can put it in the chat. Any questions at all? Right back at you, Marcy. Okay. This week, I want you to return to the simplicity of your meditation, watching the breath, and just giving yourself timelessly to your chosen point of attention. That's where it's at. All the fancy bells and whistles that we get used to by people trying to, sell us things, they're just distractions for the most part. If you can just anchor your mind in one place so that the personality part of your mind can step out of the driver's seat and allow you to be left with what's left. That's everything. Now we have one person saying, I felt like what I was looking at was moving. Is that normal? Yes. Here's what's happening. The world that you see around you is actually a product of your mind. So you take in information, it gets processed through your limbic system, which is where a lot of your emotions are. And then it projects an image on the screen of your optic nerve. Well, not on the screen of your optic nerve, but it projects an image, and then it stabilizes that image. But the truth is, nothing is stable. Everything's moving. It's you who are holding everything in place with your mind. That's true of the floor below you. So you'll often start to see this kind of waviness because you're no longer holding your reality in place. You've let go of it. So you're seeing it the way it is. The truth is, when you can learn to let go of all the things you hold in place about this reality, what you're going to come to experience is that life really doesn't have any characteristics to it. Life is a product of your expectations and what you hold in place, and the expectations of the people that you associate with. But again, don't take my word for it. Start meditating and watch how people respond differently to you. Watch how a lot of the things that you thought were true about the world start showing you the opposite. So they're saying they especially saw waviness in the light, the matrix. Yeah. You're becoming flexible. The shamanic way of saying that is your assemblage point is moving. So you have a certain way that you assemble your life. And when you start meditating in this way, that assembly gets more flexible. And it's okay if you saw nothing. Absolutely okay if you saw nothing. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you don't want to get caught up on phenomena. All right? So there's lots of cool little things that some people see depending on if they are more visually oriented. For others, you know, who are more kinesthetic, they'll feel a peace that kind of comes around their body, wafts around their body, or they might even feel a pressure from the light that is coming into the space. And in the beginning, you might not feel anything at all. And the reality is none of that matters. What matters is, can you shift your attention to the breath and abide there? That's what matters. Okay? So we can explain the other stuff, but the other stuff isn't important. So don't get lost in it. Just let it do its thing. Let the floor be the floor. Let the peace be the peace. You be the watcher of your breath. But over time, you'll start to notice that the fact that these things happen have implications. You know, it tells you something about how your world is assembled. But you don't need to figure any of that out now. For now, just step into the meditative state and stay there. And yes, Josie, this class absolutely repeats next week. So I'm here every Thursday, pretty much rain or shine. And next week, I know a lot of people will be doing holiday stuff because it'll be the 23rd, which is pretty close to Christmas, I guess. But I will still be here. So anyone who wants to come. And if you can't make it, that's okay too. Every week, I post this class on my weekly meditation page. And then it gets replaced every single week. So last week's class will get replaced in about 10 minutes. And this week's class will replace it. Great. I would love to see you guys there. So I will send out, I send out a weekly invite. I think you guys are probably all on my list at this point. So every week I'll send out a little reminder with the Zoom link. So just check your mail. And if it's not there, go to your spam folder. And if it's not in your spam folder, just go back to the meditation page and re-enter your information. It won't lead to multiple emails. It'll just send you the current link. Okay? All right, everybody. Thank you, and I will see you all again soon. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thanks.